I'm professional investigator Justin Yentes. Here we cut through the noise, dig deep, and uncover what others overlook. If you're ready to roll up your sleeves and get to the bottom of the story, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Truth Be Found. Let's get to work. Welcome to Truth Be Found. I'm your host, Justin Yentes. In our last episode, we heard from Rachel Jeffs and Tawni Browning about Rachel's personal journey out of the high-controlled FLDS cult. Today, we're continuing that conversation and widening the lens. Together, we'll not only explore what it takes to escape, but to recover, and how advocates like Tawni are working to expose systemic failures, raise awareness, and build safer futures. This episode is about turning survival into action and ensuring stories like Rachel's lead to lasting change. Rachel and Tawni remind us that survival is the first step, but advocacy and awareness are what create a safer tomorrow. Their work and voices challenge us to see the red flags, support survivors, and never look away. Thank you for listening to this vital conversation. Please share this episode, help spread the word, and join us as we continue to search, because the truth must come out. I want to welcome you both back to the show. And the last time we talked a lot about Rachel's upbringing and the experience that she had leading up to being able to come out. And we want to pick that up here where, we were just talking before we started to record. Tawni, you were mentioning that Rachel experienced a lot of hate from those that were still in the FLDS community. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I think that it's kind of, you imagine the fact that this is your whole identity. And then you've got someone royalty, because Rachel is royalty, coming out and saying, hey, this is, exposing all of this stuff. That would be hard. You would feel protective. So Rachel's gotten a lot of hate, even from places and people that I would never expect it to happen. Mm-hmm. But it's sad for me, because Rachel really wants to help people. So many of the decisions that she's made, even writing the book, doing the movie, things like that, have been for her people.
Right. Now, Rachel, tell me about the people that have reached out to you for help.
I've had a lot of people reach out and just mostly want to hear my story firsthand. I think people that have wanted to leave or are in the process of leaving or have just recently left, and so they can hear the truth from me, or they'll read my book or they'll secretly go watch media that I've spoken, mm-hmm. like in podcasts or interviews and whatnot, and they'll go secretly watch those, and then that will help convince them to leave. Or then they'll reach out to me, and when they finally reach out, it's like lots of times they're not quite ready to hear it, actually. Mm-hmm. Like they have an idea and they're starting to believe, but Rachel, don't tell us, or we're not ready to hear that. So I'll just be kind to them and try to give them advice, and when you come out, if they're willing to talk to me, I always don't let go of all the good that right. we weren't only taught bad. We were taught a lot of good things. The world, there will be people that want to take you in, because they're very naive, and it's hard for mm-hmm. them to actually accept how naive they are. Actually, it's really hard for them to accept that. They want to believe that we're smart, but we're smart. I'm like, yes, you're smart, but you have no idea what
Not
it's like
the ways of the world.
We're not
right.
worldly smart,
Right.
Guarantee me. I know.
I feel like Rachel is the most loved and hated woman in the FLDS, and I don't always understand the hate sometimes as much. I understand the love, but when they really, really need help, they come to Rachel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen it time and time again.
The hate really is just that I've spoken out and been public. They were been for so many years. Media was wicked. Don't ever get on the media. Never talk to the media. Never talk against the prophet. So that's where all the hate stems from. Just their mental brain gets stuck on this fact that Rachel's bad for getting on media. Rachel's bad for talking and writing her story and all that. So even though they know it, whether they come to the realization it's true or not, it's just really hard to get over that mental block.
Well, and I hope that anyone that's listening to this episode definitely stops right now and goes back to our last episode where you talked about standing up to Warren and the voice that you gave to so many others in your community to escape themselves. I've seen that when people speak truth, those that truth offends, try and tear it down.
I love that because, even when my family, I was like, even if we can just tell them, I remember coming to this point where I had a bunch of their numbers because one of the siblings had left. So I had a bunch of their numbers that were still in my siblings' numbers. I was like, okay, I told my sister Lenora, I'm going to send this text because if they just know the truth, whether they're never going to believe it, they're going to say we're lying. But once that truth gets in their head, they're never going to be able to get rid of it.
Right.
So I just sent this text, the very first thing I said, I wasn't going to say who I was at first because I knew they wouldn't read it. So the very first thing I was like, father sexually abused us. I just said that right off. And so they all read it, that I sent it to. Most of them have left that I sent it to. And so it's really cool that because they couldn't get rid of the truth of it, or they were also sexually abused. So they realized they weren't alone. So yeah. That's true. That truth that once it gets in their head, they can't get rid of it.
Right.
And she called me and told me, I said, you did what? She said, I just said father sexually abused me. And I'm like,
Us.
Yes, yeah, that's what she said. And I was like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so did you hear anything back? And she's like, no, I won't.
Yeah, they won't. I knew they would.
It's just saying it out loud and letting someone hear that. I know at church we've been going over, the verse, being instant in season and out of season. It doesn't mean that your truth to one group is a different truth to another. The truth stands wherever it goes.
Right.
And I appreciate your willingness to say that truth to those people that need to hear it so desperately.
Whether they're ready to hear it or not, someday they will come back and they have. I'm so glad you said that.
Well, it's pure love. I mean, it's not in her it's not easy to say.
It's in their best interest.
Yeah,
and they're
theirs, not yours.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I knew they'd hate me, but I was just like, I just want them to be free. Whether they're free and they hate me, they can. I just want them to be free of all that.
And truth will set you free. It's more than cliche. It is fact.
Right.
And so this is why you said I was mentoring her. I'm like, what are you even talking about? Rachel mentors me. So, I mean, I've just been so blessed to have her in my life. So
together, it's like I learned so much from Tawni, and like for me, like coming out, well, my kid is struggling this, and she'll just walk me through it. Well, Rachel, this is normal, and just normal everyday things that I was, because life was so strict for me. So put my kids through school and stuff, or dating and all these things that I'm not used to, or watching my kids date, then I could had someone to call and be like, Tawni, my child's going through this or that, and she was like, that's normal, just help me through that, and then it wasn't a big deal, and so those kinds of things that have been normal for her, she's been able to help me so much with, where, even where she was helping so many people that wouldn't listen to me and would listen to her, she could call me up and be like, what's this mentality?
How is it that you two first connected? Why don't you tell us that story?
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool and kind of funny. I mean, she has a mutual friend, a really good friend of hers. Can we use names? Her name's Rose. I love her. Just love her. Beautiful, polygamous woman, beautiful, stunning. And we had talked. She goes, you should talk to my friend Rachel. I'm like, Rachel, Rachel Jeffs. Oh, would she talk to me? Yeah, here's her number. So I was coming out of the crick and I was driving, and so I just call her. Really, that's just all it was. And I think she told
I was in Montana.
Didn't she tell you?
I was in Bonners Ferry or something. No, I was
Montana.
I was in Montana.
Polson, yeah. But did she tell you I was going to call? Okay, so I just cold called her, but I could tell her, hey, Rose told me I could call, because I try not to scare people.
And was Rose still in?
She had recently left, and she had called me, and I'd helped her through that process.
Yeah, so they were close friends, and anyway, so I called her, and so since Rose, so we talked for 3 hours.
Wow.
I had to pull over on the side of the road because I was losing service. I was talking to Rachel so long that the police came up and knocked on my door to make sure I was okay, and I'm like, please, I'm talking to Rachel, So we just, I don't know what it was.
Yeah, we connected.
Yeah, so I got off the phone and I told my husband I need to go up to Bonners Ferry because you were
going to meet Brandon at the time.
Yeah. So I just told her, hey, I'm going to be up in the area anyway.
To meet you.
Yeah, to Bonners Ferry.
What a coincidence.
So we went up there. I just wanted to meet her, and if it worked, it worked. It was on my dime. If it was going to work, fine. If it didn't, I was fine with that too. I knew it was going to be something good. I would have a friend for sure, and. she took me back to where they were staying at the hotel, and I
let her read.
She's like, "Do you want to read my book?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I did not want to read that book. That was very, very hard because as I was reading it, Rachel was looking at me like, "Do you like it?" You know, and it was just a very hard read, 8-year-old porn. It felt like to me, just a really hard read, but truthful. And I thought this woman, this girl, this friend of mine, this new friend has something to say, and it's powerful.
Very much so. Very much so. So as you two started to work together, it sounds like you had to get to know each other first.
I have to say this. I mean, Lisa Ling was calling her, trying to get her to do 2020.
Lisa Ling? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And Rachel wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, a lot of people had, and I just wasn't feeling it. And Tawni was the first person I really let into my life. And I feel like it's been a huge blessing for me. It's opened doors for me. I think both of us have been able to open doors for each other that in a way that no one else has been able to do that. I think it's been a really powerful friendship, and I really am so grateful. I think God helped Tawni come into my life.
Oh, definitely.
And that's wild because I was like, Rachel, it's Lisa Ling. You should probably just do that. And she said, I don't want to. So that was like, I said, okay, you know.
Well, and honestly, there's some platforms that, aren't as beneficial for this type of story and some that are. Did you end up going on the show, and was that?
Yeah, I did end up going on the show, but even more than that, I think the friendship we built.
He doesn't know what show. She never did Lisa Ling.
Oh, you never did Lisa Ling. Oh, okay.
She did
I did a show with Tawni.
She did Escaping Polygamy with me.
Right. No, that one I've watched.
Yeah. So
that's the first one I did.
Yes. Okay.
So everyone would say exclusive Rachel Jess. I'm like, I had the exclusive.
Yeah, Tawni always had the exclusive.
Yeah, that is a fantastic series.
And really, I just think the quality that I've had, mostly just for the friendship more than anything, surpasses anything that I could have imagined.
And
friendship.
I do have to say something about River Media and A&E, who took the risk and did things that we hadn't really done before and allowed Rachel to say it her way. I mean, there just can't be enough said about that. And I'm not just doing that just for functionary.
Open doors way beyond media for me, for sure.
I mean, I just think that they pretty fantastic, took personal risk, putting things out there that hadn't been done before. Yeah, actually. I mean, I can't say enough about that and how much, and I trusted them because here I had someone like Rachel trusting me. I wanted to make sure that I could trust who I was working with as well. And they never let us down. So
what have you seen come out of the Escaping Polygamy series?
I don't even know if Rachel knows this. Do you want to answer first, or do you want me?
I think personally, I got mostly hate for it. Personally, honestly,
from the other FLDS.
Yeah,
folks.
I got a lot of hate for it in general, but I think what came out of it for me was friendships that have lasted as long as I've been out.
When I knew that we had done something that was unique and groundbreaking is when I found out, when I started the show, that we had Kingstons that were having suicide pacts. I've talked about this before, but and then just recently I found out within the last year that now they have pacts, not to commit suicide, but how we're going to break free.
Wow.
So, I mean, that because they watch beautiful women making beautiful choices, and they now knew, this is my take on it. I can do it too.
But one thing I know, that all the media and the openings I've had because of Tawni and since Tawni, is that's what my family accessed to also find out the truth and leave. And so in that way, it's been rewarding, whether they hated me at the time or whatever. And most of them don't now that have left. They're totally fine with it. And a lot of them are speaking out themselves now. What I think that did for them was now it's on the internet. They can go look it up and make that choice as well.
Oh, 100%.
They just needed that knowledge.
There's been so many that the thing that opened my eyes is that they didn't know that they could leave. They didn't even know. They're like, oh, I can leave? Oh, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, and lots of times because my family wouldn't talk to me and I knew they're in a place that they might leave, I'd call up Tawni and be like, hey, Tawni, will you talk to this sibling? And she would, and they would talk to her, but they wouldn't talk to me. And so she could reach them in a way that I couldn't. And then they would eventually come to me. And what I love about Tawni, where some of my family have gone to other people and they would almost help keep them away from me, Tawni always turned them back to family. And I love that about Tawni.
well,
you're a safe
there's
space.
power in family. Why would
Right.
you want to take any soul and keep it for you? They need to be with their family, with the people that know them, that understand them, that have been through the same things.
So I've always trusted Tawni with my family. And so like I've had other situations where like my sisters have gone to other places where they thought it was safe and then they ended up getting hurt. And these people kept them from me or kept them from the family and for themselves, like for their own purposes. And it ended up hurting them because people know these girls are very naive. And so then they're sexually abused or they're preyed upon. And then the girls end up in a bad situation because they're with people that actually don't want what's best for them. And one thing that I've always known with Tawni is she will always turn them back to family and protect them from that.
I don't know enough. I mean, I've stepped on so many landmines because I just don't know. And you're being so kind, but there was a whole learning curve on there.
Well, you learned this on the fly
on the
well.
fly. And so why wouldn't you turn them back to what people that actually, as much as I thought I knew nothing.
And I think that our listeners need to go back and listen to, I think it was our second, maybe even it was our first or second episode that you and your husband, that you and Matt were on, and read Matt's book, The Hate Next Door, which I've personally bought like 10 copies of and give them away. The fact that your husband was this white supremacist investigator, and when I say that, he was an investigator who investigated white supremacists and white hate gangs, and you started seeing the danger coming around him and your family. And instead of cowering down, you said, "Oh, give me a pair of Doc Martens. I'm going with you as your skin bird." And
it was hoops and heels.
Hoops and heels.
I just was myself. We were okay.
Right. And that's not common for an undercover officer to take his wife undercover, but I have a strong feeling that you weren't going to take no for an answer.
Well, that's just, he didn't really have a lot of a choice. But here we go. You know, once we started doing this polygamy stuff, I was learning on the fly, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And so Matt would say things like, well, okay, this is like the pimp. So he started trying to show me the criminality of what was going on in polygamy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came along with me,
Mm-hmm.
and we were able to kind of do things together, and he helped me see things I would never have seen another way. And we were able to but show a different light on things to the community, I feel like. I mean, I've gotten a lot of hate too,
Oh,
but I think that's par for the course.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It
mean,
is.
you're going into dark spaces. You just need to make sure that you're not,
well,
prey
and it's
to the
just
dark.
with me and Tawni, it's like we know our intentions are for everyone's best interest. And so we've been able to push through that, even though, there's a lot of hate and people accusing us of all kinds of things. But it's just like, we know that at the bottom and at the top, we just want what's best for these people.
Right.
In the end, that's all we want. And so whether they hate us through it, no matter what happens, we know in the end, we just want them to be happy.
Well, you're confronting some horrible, horrible people that are manipulating people for criminal and extremely immoral reasons. The stuff that you all are bringing to light, I mean, should definitely bring shame and criminal charges and a destruction to that whole society, and be able to pull those women out of it. And so, of course, that's gonna cause those that are personally benefiting from it to hate the ones that are exposing them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think there's hate for exposing it, because it's like, why didn't I expose it? Don't you? I mean, it's like, why wasn't I? Almost like you have to confront the.
I think people hate on us that we actually have the strength to do that. I think there's hate there too. Like, well, how dare you have that strength?
But,
I mean,
but
I don't know.
We don't have strength. It's all God.
Yeah,
you know, it's
don't.
just kind of like, okay, well, I'm all you have, or Rachel will say, I'm all you got. So what are we going to do here? So, that kind of thing sometimes.
So as you start working with new women that you're pulling out of this system, tell me about what
you have such strength. I didn't mean that for me.
No,
I'm just saying,
No,
I'm like,
I
I know I'm not the best prepared for this,
No.
but I mean, I'm all you have.
You both are very humble.
We both, I very much know it. If without God, I'm nothing.
Tell me about what the first, let's say 30 days, if you can get someone out of that community into a safe harbor, what is that first month or so like?
I found that we need a safe space for at least 6 months. Like I'm talking like rent, food, everything.
I think I'm saying 2 years, not necessarily that they need rent for 2 years, but I do agree for the 6 months for that.
Or a year. But I found that if you do much more than that, you can almost be enabling, and they don't know how much strength they have inside.
Right.
This is what I have found. But
I agree.
You lived it. So what do you think?
I think if like you could help them, because most of them are coming out with nothing, right? And a lot of them have kids and they have to take care of themselves. So like, because I also now work in victim services, so I know more what's available, but like that I didn't know. So I was just really in limbo for a little bit. But just helping them like to get on the food stamps was to take care of their kids for a minute. Like we want to help get them off, right?
Well, that's the whole reason why we have these safety nets in society, because you did not choose this life.
Right.
Well, I said I pay my taxes to pay for the, that's what I used to tell her. She's like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, I pay my taxes to help someone like you. This is what I want to do.
It's exactly where it should be going. And it's the reason that we have these programs to help people that are in these situations.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. If they can get that, and then helping them, I think this is just my own bright picture. If they could get into a community that was healed, not stay with these groups that are all messed up, get into a community that's healed in a place where someone's helping them get rent for a little bit while they get on their feet, and then work with someone that can help them get a job and start getting educated, and, really write down what they want for their future and kind of really help them get on that path. Maybe a mentor that can help them get on that path. But most of them aren't ready for that. They just, at least for me, it's like, oh, Rachel's bad, we can't talk to her, So it's hard to actually reach them to help them in that situation.
Well, I would imagine that there'd be a lot of mental blocks when you're looking, from the inside as to, can I get out? Because what were the things that you would think of? I mean, as far as, can I make it out there? Will I have friends out there? Will I be evil out there? Will I be taken advantage? Will I be able to keep my kids? What were the big fears about jumping into the
I think I know the biggest fear is, for me, was how am I going to take care of my kids? That was the scariest thing. Like there's just doesn't seem a way to actually make it and be able to get a home that would fit my kids. I had a lot of kids, right? Or just all that seemed really difficult. But for my family, I think what I see, especially for my family, where they've been very well taken care of in the FLDS because they had all they need. I think it's really hard for some of them to come out and be like, I don't care if you're a girl, you got to go to work and get what you got to learn all these skills that you have no idea. Besides learning how to get a job they do work. I'm not saying they don't work hard. They can work hard, but they've just been very limited in that.
In domestic skills.
Yeah, they can do domestic skills, but
oh my gosh, they make yogurt and cottage cheese and bread, and I'm just like, whoa, you guys are ninja women.
And
totally
they can garden
crazy,
and do all kinds of stuff. But to actually realize they have to go out on the road and get a job, and I think mostly, especially for the women, they're just so naive. If one guy looks at them and they think they're in love, I mean, things like that. It's just
the
like
boys too.
The guy, they get so taken advantage of, and it's so sad. And I think that messes them up more than anything.
And we've had this conversation. It's like, well, because in kindergarten we're writing, we're playing house and we're going to get married, and but we don't have fully functioning bodies. And we go home to our parents at night, and we're not getting married.
But we come out and we're suddenly dating as kindergartners. I say that all the time. When I first left, I was a first grader trying to date, and I messed up, and we make big mistakes because we're big.
Yeah, they're not learning this like we did line upon line. They were not raised for this world.
Right.
So, and because we've never dated, we've never had any education on dating, I'll tell you, that's literally the biggest mistake everyone has made. And I think that's why it's so easy for them to get taken advantage of.
And you're indoctrinated. If a kiss means that it's forever.
That you have to marry. Yeah.
And so it's just, you don't just come out and know, that's some of the conversations we would have. She's like, it's okay for your kids to have those experiences.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, for me, it was like, because when I first left, it was like, well, if I kiss this guy, I have to marry him, or, just crazy stuff. And it took my kids growing up and talking to Tawni and being like, well, Tawni, what if she makes these mistakes? She's like, Rachel, it's not that big of a deal. They need to date. And,
it means
just
she's normal.
Walk me through those things where I realized I messed up so much when I first left, because my mind was so I had to do these things and prove to my family that I was a good person or that I wasn't immoral, because we were taught if you leave, you're going to go do all these terrible things immorally, you know? And so I think I made choices that were so against what was in my heart, because I was trying to prove that I was a good person versus what really God was telling me was wrong for me. I thought, well, my brain was saying, well, you kissed this man, you have to marry him.
Mm-hmm.
Versus my heart was saying, this man is not right for you.
Wow.
It just goes on. It just goes on, and the ripple effect of
I'll
some of
be
this
really
stuff.
honest, I've gone through a divorce because of it. And
Since you've left,
Mm-hmm.
so not Richard, but you got married, and then
mm-hmm.
how did you? You said you went through a divorce because of it. How did that?
I'm
work
just
out?
saying, because I dated as a first grader.
Okay.
I dated as a first grader, and I my brain was still, oh, if I kiss this man, I have to marry him. Or, you know, that was where I was at. And, or if he kisses me, and I was very, very submissive, because that's what I was taught. I was submissive to men, and I didn't really feel like I was the one choosing. It had to be just me submitting. And I don't know, it's tender. It's tender because my divorce is very new.
Oh, sorry.
But it's just, no, I'm fine. I'm actually in a different relationship, but it's just.
She calls me. She goes,
as a third grader, or
yeah, no. Now she's a 10th grader.
Okay. Well, at least now you have someone that can guide you, a
Can I
mentor in
please
this.
be like?
No, she's an adult
college?
woman. Yeah, she's all, please. But I don't want to hurt any feelings, so maybe we don't want to put this on. So I'll let you guys decide. But she's like, I'm dating a Gentile, and I was like,
no, I
what?
said it's so fun to date a Gentile.
Oh yeah, so, and it was just like, what? You know, it's kind of fun to, but it's painful too, because
No, it's very
like,
painful,
it's not.
and it's really hurtful. And I think that's why when I see family leaving now, and I'm just like, oh, please give yourself time, and they don't.
Right.
They don't. They're
First thing they
old.
wanna
They
do
come
is-
out old.
yeah.
They want to have kids.
Right.
They're up to 30 years, 30, almost 40. They want to have kids, so they find the first relationship they can. And then it hurts me, because now I've been out for almost 11 years. And I know the pain it can be when you make that wrong choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like just your everyday person that they dated for a while and, oh, now they're not happy in their marriage. It's so much different, because literally we were dating as first graders.
Right. Well, and you see that in even people that have been in abusive relationships for long periods of time. You know, I've got a good friend that went through that after, 20 years of abusive relationship, left and wanted to start dating right away. I said, hey, you need to slow down.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I feel that very much. It's just.
Give your advice. Like, this is what everyone leaving an abusive or a cold or a closed society needs to know.
No, it's just no. When your gut tells you it's wrong, it's wrong. Even if you kissed him, even if you had sex with him, I don't care. I know that strict religions, not just the FLDS, teach you otherwise, and that you have to keep these covenants and all that. Well, don't make the covenant in the first place. I remember walking down the aisles knowing that my heart knew something in me told me it was wrong, but. Well, I kissed him, or I had sex with this man, I have to marry him. And no, you don't. Because in the end, whatever the issues are going to get so much bigger.
Right.
They're going to get so much bigger, and you're never going to be happy.
Well, and were you able to get some sort of counseling to? No, nothing.
Oh, like
well,
through
before going into a relationship, because
no,
living
I
in.
never
How old
did.
were you when you finally
Left.
separated from the
I was
FLDS?
31.
So you had 31 years of that being the entirety of your reality. So how long was it between that and getting married?
Within the first year, my husband, Brandon. I'll just say Brandon. Everybody knows I married Brandon. He started talking to me, and I remember also feeling like, even though something in my heart was like, I knew that wouldn't just be the choice person I would choose. I remember feeling like, well, Rachel, you have 5 children. No one's going to want you. I mean, I didn't think enough of myself to actually go for what my heart wanted. And so I just remember thinking, you settle, Rachel, because also super desperate, super, I was very lost into how to take care of my kids and all that. So I kind of felt like I needed help. And I don't want to disregard Brandon, because he's a good good enough
So I was
person.
gonna
I
say,
don't
he's
want
a
to.
good- he's
He
a good
also
dude.
was from the FLDS and suffered a lot, so I don't want to disregard that about him. It just, in my heart, I knew it wasn't the right person. And I didn't listen to that because I felt like I just didn't see that I was worth enough to have better, to put myself in a better relationship.
And
I
what
guess.
who was out there to tell you otherwise?
No one. I had no one to
what
get advice from.
resources
And this is
did you
before I
have?
met
Oh,
Tawni.
no, it wasn't. You guys kind of knew each other. I'm gonna slimmer down into this thing because I don't. The hard part.
I was meeting him before I met Tawni.
Yeah, that's he.
I had-
We met Brandon up there in Bonners Ferry, Matt and
But
I.
I was already dating Brandon
Yeah.
before I met Tawni.
So,
but even let that
even if
happen.
I knew, like, I don't want to like project my feelings onto anybody else, especially someone who doesn't have my lived experience. And so,
well, we were learning together too. I
yeah,
mean,
and now I know to say I think I would have been a lot more bold.
but at the time it was all too new for both of us. It really was.
Plus, I'm a journalist, especially at that point. I'm just going to tell your story. But I found that this is not an arm's length relationship or journalistic project. This is love, and it truly is heart to heart on so many times. I mean, so it blurs a little bit sometimes. So
well, and I would.
But now, I mean, we have a friendship, so it's so much different. Now it's like,
yeah, we went to
can
lunch
talk.
to dinner last night, and my son was being naughty, and I was like, "Oh, really?" Well, I shouldn't say that. Sorry. But he was just saying some things, and she jumped in just like a super cool aunt would do when you're like sitting there drowning with your own child. And I was like, "This is so evolved. This is so great." She's helping me parent right now.
That's fantastic.
And then afterwards, she said, "I think so and so just needs a little hug." She said, which is her way of saying you might be being a little harsh on him.
Right.
Yeah. So
well, you as a outsider to the FLDS and went through your dating and relationships and whatnot, I would imagine that you've seen other women that have come out. What would you advise them as far as preparing themselves to move forward? I mean, is there counseling services? What even resources do they have?
the problem is you in the FLDS and most polygamous groups that I have been, associated with, it is so evil. It is evil to seek counseling. So sometimes it's just
most
your
of them
mentors outside that's where I would say, God, I'm all they have. They're never going to go to counseling. So help me or bring someone else into their lives to know what to say. But this is what I would say to them. Baby girl, you are so little right now. You don't know what you want yet. You have to give yourself some time. You have to be able to have experiences and don't jump into things that you're not ready for. And listen to the ones around you that maybe can see a little bit different because of their lived experience.
Yeah. And so obviously I went into my marriage totally, my heart wasn't in it. I mean, as far as, I don't want to say it like that. I was willing to sacrifice whatever to make it work. But I wasn't in love. Honestly, I wasn't. And I think just really thinking, oh, I have to marry this man because we kissed or whatever. Then when my daughter's growing up and she's starting to date, and so I'm like all emotional because honey, well, she's dating this boy and she's slept, or kissed him or whatever. Yeah. Kissed him or whatever. And Tawni's like, Rachel, she can't marry a man she doesn't love. Do not have her marry a man she doesn't love. And, just Tawni helped me through that so much, and just saying things like, when you date is the time to be selfish. I love that. I tell my kids that all the time now. And I say, Tawni says.
Well, and it's a complete different mindset because in your prior life, you were given, and it was completely against your will.
We're against selfishness. You just give in. You just do stuff for others. You don't do anything for yourself.
And I have to say this, but her sophomore was, homecoming princess. So these kids have integrated. They're playing football. They're doing all the things that my kids were doing. And it's just pretty remarkable. People, when they meet Rachel's children, they have no idea where they came from. And Ember,
my kids have no idea where they came from. Yeah. I mean, really mentally, they cannot relate to anyone.
Now, how old what were the ages of your children when you left? And that was in 2013. So
3 to 12, 3 to 11 when I left.
Okay, 3 to 11.
So they're pretty young, and I put them right into a healed community. I mean, just a general community.
Now, when you say a healed community,
I just say a north. Well, okay, when you stay in Colorado City, say you leave, but you stay in Colorado City around all these polygamous and messed up people, that don't know what they believe.
People that are trying to find their way.
Yeah, they're trying to find their way. And so then you just have a whole bunch of people that are really messed up. I mean, mentally, I really believe that. And so the kids can't find their way because the parents haven't found their way. And to actually move away to a community, just a normal community. So that's what I call a healed community. I'm saying, obviously, there's bad and good everywhere you go. But it's just a normal community that plays sports in school, does all these normal things that once you put your kids in school and start being around normal moms and what's normal, you can't really say what's normal, but still it is just a normal community, and start learning how to manage this life. And that's what your kids are around. And then that's all they know. And life is it's just so normal for them. And now when my kids meet people that are leaving the FLDS and stuff, they're so sweet, like they're so helpful, but they're like the outsider trying to, okay, they all plan, we got to do this and this and this. We got to be really nice. We got to put our mind over here so we can understand them. It's just like they're trying to help these other kids that are trying to come out into the world.
But I think what you did that was so good, her kids kind of mirrored what my kids were doing at the time. And then as your girls got older, like my daughter does, dance and cheer and stuff like that. And so her oldest did. I'm not even sure she wanted to, but she kind of did it because they were mirroring us. And then the younger ones are volleyball and all this other kind of stuff that they want to do. So it was,
Ember just wanted to do cheer because she loved that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But it was just more them getting into the school and figuring out what they wanted, and me being like, oh, it's okay. For me at first it was like, why would we make this effort to do sports? And for Tawni, it was like, of course you do that effort for sports. I mean, it helps them. She helped me see the beauty in the sport program where it helps them be involved with the community and it helps them stay out of trouble and all that. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I'm like, okay, yeah, let's play sports. I mean, just stuff like that. Or I'm so grateful I had Tawni to help mentor me through parenting out here.
Now I've seen up in...
I have to say this though, but the people that you have surrounded you from Polson, Montana to Bonners Ferry, I mean, it's been the community.
Yeah, the community has helped me too.
And that's something we can all do.
Strong
oh,
community,
definitely.
And they've helped me a lot too.
And I've seen there's been a push in some states to decriminalize polygamy and lower the criminal and civil penalties for it. Have you followed that at all in Utah, or did you participate in any of the discussions or give your opinion on that?
I've always been very against polygamy personally because I've never seen it benefit kids. And where to me, what's the most important thing is the kids. And if it's not going to benefit kids, why would we ever do it?
Right.
If kids are the most important thing, why would we ever do something that hurts the kids?
My husband's involved in law enforcement, and right now in Utah, it's like a speeding ticket.
Right.
It's a misdemeanor. So he's like, give them that speeding ticket. Just get them at their pocketbook. $750 every time they get pulled over for polygamy. Practicing bigamy or whatever. He said it's going to start to hurt.
How do you feel about it, Tawni? Now you've been into other polygamous communities and have experienced, folks that have told you of this Shangri-La, the mysterious polygamous community that's everyone's happy and everything works. But apparently you've never found that, correct?
Yeah, I really still want to believe it. I want to believe that people can make their own choice and we can live and let live. And I have no opinion about polygamy. I mean, that's what I said forever. But I can't have gone through the experiences that I've gone through and sit here and feel okay with saying, hey, I think it works. It doesn't work. It's a breeding ground for pedophilia. It is. Not that every man that practices polygamy is a pedophile, but if you want to hide in that community, if that's where you want to get, if that's going to get you where you want to go, that's where a really easy place to hide. And since there's so many kids,
it's old men marrying younger and younger women, then they are thinking younger and younger and younger.
And I really feel bad for the men too. A lot of these men don't want to practice polygamy, but you got to have 3 wives to get to the celestial kingdom. I mean, what are you going to do if you're trying to be a righteous man? I mean, there's just so many problems. The ripple effect, like I said, is so great, but bottom line, I just don't see it working. And I think that the ones that are really honest about it, and I've had some inside and outside tell me the same. So,
and what do they tell you?
they say it's a breeding ground for pedophilia.
Okay.
And they
Just what
say,
you
and
said.
especially with the Kingstons, they said, for sexual abuse is just rampant. And I thought it was more so with the Kingston clan, that group in the Salt Lake Valley area. But you get more, FLDS was slower to tell me, but it's very, very deep rooted in the FLDS group too.
Yeah, and especially because the way the FLDS lived was all the women had to live in the same home, and it was really bad for half siblings doing sexual abuse between. There's just so many kids. It's so hard to keep track of them, and there's just so much going on. I think it's just the sexual abuse is very rampant.
And with the Kingstons, it's, that the siblings, the moms are told to make, 7 wives will want 1 man, or there's a scripture that says that. And so they're out in the world making money. So who's watching all these kids? They have to have a kid every year. So who's watching these kids? The siblings are, and their sibling abuse and sexual abuse is just anybody in the Kingstons that told they will, it's hard for them to deny that. They probably won't.
Now, how is it that just logistically this ends up working? Because if you've got about a 50% chance of having a female to a male child, you're going to, and only the men can practice polygamy, or excuse me, only the men can take on multiple spouses. You're going to have some leftovers, for lack of a better term.
And then they just start sending the boys away because there's too many boys and they're a threat, and the older men want the younger women. So get rid of the men. Or I've even seen in polygamous groups that aren't the FLDS, the older men are criticizing the younger boys, so the women won't marry them and saying how terrible they are and why they shouldn't marry them, just so the women the young girls will actually look at them and want to marry them and not the young boys, because, oh, well, he's just this terrible thing or that terrible thing, because the competition is real.
Right.
And so, yeah, the boys just kind of get sloughed off or sent away or cast out.
And in the Kingstons, they tell them, this is kind of freaky. They'll tell them to go out into the world and find, the ones that aren't in the inner circle, that don't have the pure blood. They'll tell them to go out in the world and find their mates, find their wives. And so that's happening as well to our women who, our girls are suspecting that are being preyed at that as well. And they're like, well, what if they don't want to join our group? And the leadership will say, we'll worry about that later.
Wow. If you had to estimate, how many families or people do you see practicing in the FLDS polygamous practice and the Kingstons, respectively?
Well, the Kingstons, we had a couple years ago, we were at 10,000 that we could kind of document and feel really great about that. But if you're having a child a year, half of those were probably children. So, but if you're having a child a year, we're growing exponentially. You can only, that you do the math.
Right.
And there's so many break-off polygamous groups too that aren't a part of the Kingstons or the FLDS that are growing very fast. I mean, they have so many kids. It grows so fast. The FLDS aren't really growing, honestly. They don't, most of them aren't having kids. I think slowly more and more are. But in general, the FLDS aren't necessarily growing bigger and bigger like the other groups are.
Okay.
And we have so many independent groups that, just to keep track of them, I'll give them names. But they're actually independent groups that are, just small little clusters, or even just a man and a few wives.
But they'll kind of intermarry too amongst the groups and kind of get together. So I think I think it's just really big. And I think it primarily is in Utah.
And some of these, like the Kingstons, have reached out to the FLDS because they knew that they were fractured. So we've seen them in different dances or different functions. And they're LeBarons. I know the Kingstons went down to Mexico, and there's marriages between all of that
and
too.
The ones in Canada, they've gone up there, and they're all kind of getting with the ones in Canada. And Missouri, there's a big group in Missouri, and they're all getting with those ones.
So it's a whole counterculture.
Yeah, it is. That's a good way to put it.
That's expanding in its own way.
Yeah. So even if you don't have like this umbrella, I'm a FLDS or I'm a Kingston or whatever, there's all these intermarriages. It's really like old school fiefdoms or, kingdoms. And we're, you marry my daughter and we're going to have, all these, it's bartering. There's a lot of bartering and things like that go on.
Now, when you say bartering, what are they trading?
Well,
kids, no.
Women,
sorry.
Yeah. Women and money and positions and
jobs.
land. Land. We saw that happening. Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
It's not new. It's not new. We've seen this.
Not.
We've seen this since the medieval times.
Right.
This is not new. And even like the Kingston's, you know, keeping the bloodline pure, you know, we were doing that in the medieval times as well, trying, you know, but we know it doesn't end well. I never talk against the prophet. I never say anything negative like that. I just don't do it. It's not my place. But I will say, okay,
No,
let's just intellectualize.
When you
She's
say
saying against their prophet.
Their prophet.
Because,
gotcha.
like,
so they
Okay.
won't get mad.
Even if Sam Bateman, I probably would have said something, but like, I don't say anything, hey, Warren sucks or anything like that. I don't ever, because that's the first way for them to run the other way.
Right.
Now she will say, I'll sit there going, oh my gosh, don't say that. Please don't say that. She'll go, Warren, you know, she'll say, Warren sexually abused me.
I'll
but she
no, I'll
can.
just
Right.
say bad stuff. But he also, yeah, I feel like I can. And I don't care what they say, or I'll say lots of the bad things he's done. And they can take it or leave it. But
Yeah, I mean, coming as an insider, you have that right.
anyone that knew me knew that that he kept me close. He always had me with him. Like, they know that. So I feel like what's funny is they think they have this idea of him because of the teachings they listen to. And I'm like, how about we talk to the people who were actually there and experienced him, which they don't want to listen to that. But most of the people that were very, very close to him have left because they know.
And I'm like, if you want to really talk to an expert, there are no polygamy experts. There's only the ones that lived it. Those are
Right.
your experts.
But Tawni's pretty close.
Yeah, she is. She is.
I think she's an expert in her own way. And I think where she shines over any of us is she's got to know a lot of the different groups where we know our particular group. I mean, I've gotten to know some of the other groups. So, and I also do research in that area, but still not the inside knowledge that Tawni has.
So for the people that are hearing this and, you know, that have seen Escaping Polygamy or have read your book or hope are going to be able to see your film that's coming up, what can the average person do to help your community or women and folks that want to leave it?
Personally, I just always tell people, be really kind. The biggest thing is they're taught everyone out here is wicked. If they just can have that connection of, oh, this person's nice. They just want to help me. You know, don't go about it like, oh, you're part of a wicked community or cult or whatever. You know, you never say that. It's just like, just be kind to them and let them see there's good people out here, different than what they're taught. Let them see that the people out here, not everybody, of course there's bad everywhere you go or good, but let them see there's good people that want to help them out here, and then they can change their mind about the world.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of the first girls I spoke to, she was drinking a Monster and eating chips. So I knew that she wasn't being faithful. And she had the hair up, everything.
Are those
Yeah, just food is
Bad?
really restricted.
Yeah, it's very restricted.
Okay.
So I was just, you know, I saw her and I was like, why are you drinking that Monster? You need to have this Red Bull. And so she, you know, we just had a friendship. She was never on the show or anything. She just really helped me with things. But it was just that little bit of, she told me later, I just didn't know any outsiders could be nice, that they were nice. And I was like, you know, that ain't nothing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just nothing. That's just, you know, every day, every Tuesday, you know,
right?
It's not being nice. And so if you see people in FLDS or polygamists that you know are different or whatever from the outside world, just be kind, just smile, be sweet, it just goes miles.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It can touch their hearts.
Well, I'd really like our listeners to be able to find your information as far as your book. We're going to put the link. I assume it's still on Amazon. Was the last time I looked. So we'll put the link in the show notes so that people can go on and see that. And then your show, Escaping My Father.
Surviving
My Father comes out in a couple of weeks, mid-October.
Next week, right?
October 4th
Okay.
on Lifetime.
Yeah.
And then October 5th on streaming services.
Oh, wow. That's coming up. And also, I can't say enough about the Escaping Polygamy show. I've watched it and recommended it to so many people.
I was so new out.
You thought it was awful?
I look awful.
Oh, you look awful.
Oh, I see. That's why I loved it so much, is because we were able to capture where you are and what's happening. And Secrets goes more into the investigative side of some of the things. So we have Escaping Polygamy, which was 5 seasons,
right? And
then Secrets of Polygamy.
Both fantastic resources for folks, and we'll link those in. I really want to thank you both for coming on. Rachel, it's, you know, I've heard of Warren. And you don't seem to call him your dad or Warren. Father, but I've heard of him, you know, most of my adult life that I can think of, you know, growing up here in Arizona. And it's an honor to hear your story. And I appreciate your courage and you're willing to stand for truth, even when it's so difficult to do so.
Thank you.
And Tawni, you and Matt have just done a wonderful work in this community and the communities that you work with.
Well, we get to, and I hope we continue to get to.
And I hope that we can inspire more to join the fight with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Truth Be Found. The hunt for answers never stops, and neither do we. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us online to stay in the loop. Remember, truth has a way of coming to light. Until next time, keep your head up and your eyes sharp.